Hey guys, it's Tinker Taylor here today, bringing you this kind of interesting build. Now if you know me, I don't really do terrain editing. It's not really my jam. I don't really know how to do it. And so I thought, screw it, let's do a build where we do a little bit of terrain editing, I guess. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm like I spent so long on it. And it was really interesting to actually kind of work with and figure out how I was going to do it, and yeah, just kind of working with it. And again, like, I don't do much more than what you see now. Like, as soon as I finish up where I am now, pretty much that's it, that's the end. So again, it is very minimal, but it's still something that I was like, I want to play with. I want to mess around with and kind of just have a little bit of fun with it. Now I don't know how like terrain works with Sims, like playing the game. Yeah, what's that? Who's she? I don't ever play the game, but I did definitely put the staircase in because I was actually wondering, like, can they walk up hills? Like, what's the extent? What's too steep for them? And so that's definitely something I want to have a look at in the future because I definitely want to play around with terrain a lot more. I have a feeling that if when you're using terrain on just a lot that doesn't have snow, and isn't a desert lot, it normally has grass as that's just what it is. And I was curious to know if, like, I haven't looked into this or anything like that, but I was wondering, like, because when you play with terrain tools on those sorts of lots, you can get dirt when it's really steep, but it's grassy if it's not. Is that like Sims can walk up it because it's grassy and the dirt lets you know it's too steep? So if you are someone who does play with terrain or play The Sims, definitely let me know down below, all that sort of stuff, because I honestly have no idea when it comes to how terrain works when it comes to playing the game. So yeah, I definitely added in these steps so that you could actually walk around. There's a last little bit where I couldn't add stairs in and it didn't line up exactly with the ground, so I was like, I presume that Sims can still get up here. Did I playtest? No, I did not. I'm really bad with playtesting. I'm so bad with it. Like, a lot of people are like, yeah, I'll playtest it and make sure it's all usable and workable. And I'm like, yeah, I have no idea if it is. Yeah, I'll be real with you, I have no idea if this is playable or not. The other thing is, because I've used a basement, when you are looking, you'll see towards the end of the video when I actually get to furnishing it. I don't spend all that long furnishing it. But when I start furnishing and putting stairs in, I realized when I first put the stairs in, you could see the rocks in the basement below, but then you go down to the basement and you can't see them. So I had to kind of hide the stairs away. It was really frustrating. But I actually kind of like how it ends up anyway. But yeah, the point being, like, how does I don't know how any of this works. I just build and I apparently kind of softly break the game, which I'm okay with. I absolutely love pushing this game to its limits, because I find my building tends to be a lot better. So yeah, this is, in case you didn't read the title, a Villain's Lair. I made it as bland as possible. I say bland, but like, I sometimes, when I think of like a mountainous villain lair, like, this is not exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking more like a whole mountain with it poking out the side, so I had to kind of build my own mountain here. And I actually wanted it poking out of the side of the mountain, but unfortunately, not actually what I did. I ended up having it kind of cut out of the mountain instead, I guess. And I spent a very long time on all of these rocks. It's insane a little bit, because yeah, I spend so long just putting all these rocks in and making this mountain a proper mountain. And I'm kind of glad I did, because at some point I stop and go, you know, that should be enough, that should be fine. And then I'm like, no, I'll put a couple more in. Well, see, now that I've done that, I've got to put some more over here. And I just kept building on it and doing more and more and more. And I think the thing that really, really, really helped me was, I was actually hanging out on Fresh Pick stream. So if you don't know, Freshie is an amazing Aussie streamer. He's on the other side of the country to me, and he did I think it's called a Pomodoro, where for 10 minutes we hung out and chatted, and then the remainder of the time we built. I mean, obviously you didn't have to build, you could do whatever task you needed to do. There were some people who were writing and cleaning, and I think some people even napped, which, you know, that's a mood. But the whole point of it is I actually got quite a lot of this done thanks to that stream. So yeah, you should definitely check out Freshie. The reason why he had the Pomodoro on is because he actually has like 13 unfinished builds that were due a little while ago. And he's just getting in and getting them done, and I'm so proud of him for that because they're such detailed builds and they are so good, and I cannot wait to see them being like fully finished. So yeah. Definitely check out Freshie because I would say like probably at least it was 2 hours of this build done, so like all of the rocks and stuff like that I got done during that stream. And as you'll see, that'll take a very long time. But then the furnishing I did all off stream, and I actually managed to smash this out in one day. So it took me 3 hours and 11 minutes or something like that. But I did it over probably like 6 or 7 hours because I pause a lot, and you know, with the breaks and whatnot, and I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. So yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts, feelings, opinions, feedback, all that jazz down below, especially if you are a terrain person or if you're not a terrain person like me. I rarely touch terrain, and I'm actually, like, again, this is super simple. I just built this big plot and then smoothed it out a bit and added some stairs. And now I'm just adding a bunch of rocks, and thankfully I have access to tool mod. Tool mod has saved me a lot. I don't think I could do this on console. But I seriously don't know how console players do this because this was so fiddly and frustrating to mess around with. And actually, when I was looking at it at the end, there were a few rocks actually sticking through that I thought I pulled out, but apparently they're sticking through still. But that's really, I don't mind. Yeah, like I said, I spend forever and a day on these rocks, and I'm not even mad at that. I'm proud of how much effort and energy I've put into this build. Inside, meh, whatever. I like it, it looks nice, don't get me wrong. But I'm more interested in the exterior. I definitely want to get better at landscaping and terrain, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, again, if you have any feedback, tips, tricks, opinions, anything like that, definitely let me know. Also, if you can hear music in the background, one of the people I live with is sort of a musician. Actually, that's a lie. A lot of the people I live with know how to play instruments and have little bands and things like that. And currently they're playing, but thankfully the drums are electric drums this time because normally they're acoustic drums. I don't know if acoustic drums is the right word. And I highly doubt you can hear it because we've closed up all the windows and doors and stuff like that. And I also have closed it up because I'm recording. I normally do it when I'm recording. I don't normally close my window when I'm recording, but this time I did. And yeah, hopefully you shouldn't be able to hear that. But yeah, I live in a very noisy household. Which makes streaming so much fun. Like, I'm actually supposed to be streaming today, but because one of the bands is over today and I'm actually going away for just one night, yeah, I'm not streaming today, which makes me kind of sad because my stream schedule for the next maybe 2 weeks is just going to be non-existent because I am going to be moving. I don't know if I mentioned that in a previous video or not, but yeah, I am moving. I calculated, not including this move that I'm about to do, but since 2019, and keep in mind that we're 2024 and we're only early 2024. So from 2019 to 2023, that's what, 4 years, I moved 11 times. Sometimes it was just at uni moving between, well, sometimes even between campuses, but between the different rooms and whatnot. And like not even, you know, just down the hall or whatever, like a completely different building. They never put me in the same building next to each other. So I went from one building to a second building, back to the first building, back to the second building. And same thing happened to a couple other people. Like we never get put in the same place for more than like 12 months. Some people are very lucky and get to stay, but they usually just kind of reset it, which I think is a little silly. Like, why would you, if you already have a group of people who want to stay together, why not just keep them in that room, in that setting, and then the people who don't really care where they go, they can be the ones who move? Like, why move everybody and split everybody? I don't get it. But I have, thankfully, because of that, I have ended up living with some really amazing people who are actually still my friends to this day. And I love chatting and hanging out with them. And I actually send them, like, some of them I send screenshots, some of them I send drawings of my builds, and I really love getting feedback because the person who I send my drawings to is actually a really good artist and has actually drawn, like, did a watercolor. Yeah, a watercolor of my cat, which is the most precious gift I've ever gotten in my entire life, other than my cat, because she was a beautiful, wonderful gift for me. But yeah, anyway, just, yeah, even though I've done all that moving around, I've met some really, really cool people and, you know, had some fun and made some awesome memories that I don't think I would have made if I didn't move around a lot. But I know I'm going to move again in the future. Like, that's this, where I'm moving now is not a permanent place to move. I currently live with 8 humans and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 animals and some fish. I mean, I don't want to count the fish because the fish don't take up much room. Like, the fish don't roam around and have much space to take up. But yeah, we have other animals as well. One, of course, being my beautiful cat. And yeah, so it's just, I definitely want to get out of here. And I'm gonna definitely be moving again in the future, but I have to kind of wait. I have to kind of get to the point where there is a place for me to move, with a few people, like no more than 4. That's probably gonna be my max. I absolutely do not want to be living in a crowded household anymore, a loud household. I want to be the loudest one, and I'm pretty quiet, so yeah, definitely gonna be moving again in the future, but not hopefully anytime soon. I'm thinking of staying for a year or 2, and then getting my own place. It really depends on a lot of different things. But yeah, that's the plan, and I'm really, really excited. But anyway, that's kind of not completely off topic. But as you can see, we're 13 minutes into this video and I'm still dealing with rocks. My issue I had was that a lot of these rocks were angled, so trying to put them into the angled snow, it just got eaten by the snow, and it was really frustrating because I was just like, I want it to appear. So I had to keep using this one particular rock that is like tall and thin, but I could make it, like, it's this one you keep seeing me use everywhere. But it's like, you can see I use it everywhere and it's really frustrating. And I guess I could have, like, rotated rocks to be at different angles instead of just moving them up and down. I could have rotated them on different axes, which I did think about. Absolutely did think about. But then I was like, I just don't want to do that. I just don't have the time to, I mean, I absolutely probably could have made the time for it, but my brain was just like, no, not today, thank you. It's like, I gotta pack a whole bunch of things, and, you know, I've got uni, and I've got to make these videos, and, yeah, it's too much effort. So I just didn't. I'm not too mad at that either, because I definitely, I'm definitely proud of what we ended up with. I say we, like, you guys are building alongside me, but yeah, it's we did it. You can take some claim and glory to it, even though yeah, sure, I don't care. You helped me. Um, yeah, but anyway, yeah, this took me ages, and I think we're getting towards the end. So, like I said, it was about 3 hours of building, and I think we got another 5 minutes still of sped up at 6 times speed of me doing the rocks. So that should explain to you how much effort I put into this build, and I'm so happy with it. So this is actually my first build on of the list I made. I made a list taking me all the way to May. And now that I've added a few extra shells and things like that, it's going to take me past May, which I'm not even mad about because, yeah, I definitely need more and more ideas. The next one I'm doing, I'm kind of concerned about how I'm going to do it, but I'll leave that to a later me. I do that a lot. I leave a lot of things to later me, and later me goes, why did you do that? But anyway, yeah, long story short, I'm actually sticking to my thing. Normally when I have a list of ideas, I write them all down, and then I'm like, okay, I should put them in an order of what I want to do to kind of like space them out so I'm not doing the same thing over and over again. You know, like this is something that's a lot of terrain and cold and you know, like it's all about the terrain. So you don't want to be doing terrain over and over again. Not that I have a lot of terrain builds to do. But like I have a few like, oh, these mansion ideas or these smaller ideas or these like cutesy ideas or these forest ideas. Like I'm trying to diversify my builds. I like to do a lot of different builds. I don't like just to do one thing. I don't like to just be like, oh yeah, that's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm just going to stick to this one thing and do it. Which some people do, and I'm so like not jealous, but jealous. Like proud and jealous. I don't know how to explain it, but like people are amazing at what they do, and I'm so proud of them, and I use them as inspiration. I don't want to say jealous as in like meanie, like I wish I could do that. But it's more like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. I wish I could do something like that because that is so cool. And I'm going to use you as inspiration and take tips and tricks from you to inspire me. That's kind of more what I'm trying to talk about. There's probably a word for it, but I don't know the word. But yeah, the long story short, I don't want to hold myself to one style. I would like to have fun and just do whatever I want and, you know, try out different things. So the reason why the inside of this build is, I don't want to say blank, but um, not as detailed as the last build I did, and the outside looks way better, is because that's what I was focusing on. I cared more about the outside than the inside, whereas the last build was a shell, and I was like, I don't really know what to do with the outside. I'll deal with that at the end, and then at the end I got tired and gave up, and that's why the inside looks really, really cool, in my opinion. Feel free to disagree if you want, but I was really proud of it. Whereas the inside here, I was kind of like, I don't know, just kind of leave it blank, whatever, sure, sounds good. And that's kind of what we end up with. And again, I'm not really mad at that because I was focusing on the outside. Of course, it's gonna look different. And so yeah, if you don't like it, that's fine. If you do like it, that's fine. If you like some bits and don't like others, it you go girl. I don't care what you feel. You're entitled to feel how you feel. Also, I forgot to turn on half tile movement. I don't know what's called, like when you press the F5 key and the quarter tile placement. I think that's what it's called. I forgot to press that key, so I had to move. I didn't have to. I chose to move forward everything using tool, and then I realized, why don't I just press F5 and that, and yeah, then you won't have that big problem, you big donut head. And yeah, and then I fixed it. So yeah, long story short, with this build, it is meant to be as stark as possible. Like it's some evil villain lair. I feel like I've seen it in a movie once where it's like a villain's lair that's in the side of a mountain and it's like super, I don't want to say bland again, but it's not the, I can't think of the word. It's like, what's her name? Kim Kardashian's house. There's that style where it's, I'm thinking brutalist, but it's not brutalist. It's minimalist. That's the word I was looking for. Um, I mean, this isn't entirely minimalist, but I was going minimalist inspired, I guess. Um, I see the thing with minimalist. I know with the furniture, it's supposed to be very like minimal. I don't know what other word to describe it as. Like a very simple, very clean, very crisp. And this isn't completely clean and crisp. That's why I say it's minimal, not minimalist. Um, because yeah, minimalists tend to have very clean, crisp, sharp, but also not a lot. Like it's very empty. Which isn't a terrible idea. They're not a terrible thing. But yeah, I definitely wanted to have it be very minimal because I imagine if you're a superhero, you don't want not a superhero, a supervillain. You probably don't want a lot of things cluttering up everything. And that's kind of what you end up with here. Is I do add, you see some bookcases up here and a little bit of decor. And that's pretty much it. I don't add too much. Downstairs is a little bit more furnished, and I say that very lightly because it's honestly just the office has a lot more furniture. That's it. That's decor is very minimal here. I'm kind of happy with that. Like I'm not even mad that it is because it's sort of the vibe I was going for anyway. And it also kind of ticked off the box of doing I wanted to do like a monochrome build where it's just all one color. And I know that the couches upstairs have a little bit of color and that, you know, there's a plants here a little bit with some color. Like there's tiny snippets of color. But I'm pretty happy with how it turned out because I've never done a single color build before. And I guess you could argue the rocks outside have color, and I do put, I think, trees outside towards the end. They have color, but look, it's almost completely monochrome, and I really like that. It really fit the vibe that was going on inside my head, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I do put a bath in that has gold in it, but I change it, so don't you worry. I really didn't know what to do in this bathroom. I wanted to make it like this big magnificent bathroom, and then I was like, for one person, why don't I just make it a big bathroom? It doesn't have to be magnificent, because magnificent and minimal aren't really two words that always go together. They can. You absolutely can, but that wasn't what I was going for. And I ended up changing the floor too. So it originally, so that when you build a room, you get the grey concrete. I just changed it to white. But then I was like, no, why don't we change it to, I don't even know what it's called anymore. Marble. We change it to marble eventually. And I forgot to put fireplaces in at first. So I squeezed them in towards the end in 2 rooms. That's it. I don't put the fireplace upstairs anyway, which is kind of stupid because how else are you going to heat the upstairs? And you bet your bottom dollar I would be by the fireplace because I am someone who cannot produce their own body heat. I am freezing all the time. Like it's summer in Australia right now and I'm wearing jeans. You know, I'm pretty sure it's like 31 degrees today and I'm in jeans. Because I just cannot regulate my body temperature. I apparently have really bad circulation. I should probably look into. But yeah, I'm always cold. Like, don't get me wrong, like, most of the time when it's 31 degrees, it is probably hot, like, I will admit it. But I think it's because I actually washed my hair not that long ago, and my head is wet still. I air dry my hair, really good for your hair, so I air dry it. And I guess that's cooling me down because I have slightly wet hair. And that's probably why I can wear jeans today, but yeah, most days the heat doesn't affect me as badly as it affects other people. But on other days, it affects me worse. It's so confusing. Like, I can never figure it out. Like, I think there's just like a certain temperature where my body goes, oh, it's hot? Okay, let's just go into overdrive. And then as soon as it hits the certain cold temperature, it's like, oh, what? We're just going to shut down. We're not going to produce heat. And there's this nice little gap in the middle where it's like half a degree. I still haven't figured out what degree it is, but where I'm like really, really not affected by temperature, which really frustrates me because I just like to not be freezing or sweating sometimes. That would be fantastic. But apparently my body says no, which whatever, sure. I'll deal with that. But anyway, enough of me rambling on about that. This build actually reminds me of the fact that I'm actually going to be participating in my first ever collaboration. I've never done it before. I believe it drops in June, and we haven't officially started yet. I think it starts in April, like the when we're going to start doing the build. So I've got some time to think about ideas. I've already got an idea, but I want to make sure that the wonderful host lady is okay with my idea, because it doesn't exactly fit the brief, but if she's happy with it, I'm happy with it, and I really want to do it. But I'm going to come up with some other ideas just in case. Yeah, it's going to be a villain collab. I don't really know much more, but even if I did, I probably wouldn't say much more because I don't know how much I'm supposed to say. But Lady has been openly talking about it. So yes, it is. It's a challenge that will exist. And I'm happy with sharing that bit with you guys. And I'm very excited because I've never done a challenge before, never done a collab. And I used to say to myself, like, when I get better, I'll do it. When I get better, I'll do it. And then now I'm like, you know what? I don't even have to be that good, because I've seen people who, like, now they're really good at building, but when they first started, they were terrible, and they were doing, I wouldn't say terrible, but like doing boxes and just very basic, bland things that, I mean, after looking at people like Tat and Fresh and Lady and Kitty and Tiny and anyone else who I follow on Instagram, basically, all these amazing builders, like, yeah, when you do a box with minimal things around it, it is very hard for me to go, yeah, that looks really good, because I'm seeing all these builds that people have spent 10 plus hours on, and you know, it's a, I can look at a box and say I see potential, but I can't hype it up and be like, this is fantastic and amazing. Which of course, I'm never gonna tell people, like, actually, this is kind of gross. Like, I'm not gonna say that. That's horrible. But what I'm trying to say is, people who have started then took part in collabs, and their collab builds were so good, and I'm like, wait, hang on, what? Like, what? And these people obviously have gotten way better over time, and I've let people know, like, hey, just letting you know, like, I've seen your builds and you're amazing. Like, you've grown so much, and I've seen you grow from boxes to builds. And this is really, really cool. And then I started thinking, you know what, if other people can do that, and maybe I can. And so I was like, maybe I won't be so harsh on myself. Maybe I will try it out. And then I got another excuse of, oh, but I'm so busy and I don't know, and blah blah blah. So yeah, long story short, I got asked. So Lady posted something about, like, if you want to be part of DM me, just so I can get some interest. And I was like, well, I'm gonna be super busy, because I'm about to move, and I've got the A to Z challenge that I'm gonna be running, and blah 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 blah, and all these excuses in my head. And then she messaged me and was like, do you want to take part in it? And I went, sure. Like, just agree to it. Just do it. And I was like, okay. And now I'm really, really excited. Like, I'm really happy about it. And I really hope that I do really well in this build. And, like, again, the people who when I first started seeing them build, and like I could see great potential, and then they did a collab and it was amazing. I was like thinking to myself, look, we'll give it a go. Maybe it can be something like that. And you know, you'll be super passionate about it, and you'll be really wanting to make sure it's correct and like happy and whatnot. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm really excited to share that. I haven't even started it, but yeah, this idea came 2-3 months ago, and I got asked to do the collab I think last week. So it's been a while. Like these are two separate builds, but I'm very excited because I've already picked my sort of villain, who is sort of a villain, sort of not, depending on whose side you're on. I definitely don't think they're a villain. I love them. I've got a couple of favorite movies, and they're from one of my favorite movies. But I don't want to share it just yet, just in case we can't do it, because they're not technically a villain. But I will be doing that build regardless anyway, because I really, 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 really want to do it. I'm just gonna wait to see and get feedback on that challenge. But anyway, we are coming close to the end now. I definitely would love to get your feedback on this build, and on anything I've mentioned earlier, which I couldn't tell you what I mentioned earlier. I forgot what I said 3 seconds ago. But anyway, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by, and I'm really, really, really happy with how this turned out. And yeah, thank you for making it this far, and I really hope you guys enjoy this because I had so much fun with it. But anyway, that is pretty much it. Thank you for stopping by, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.